Hi there, and thank you for joining us here today. We have a special guest, Daniel Yuschick, a design systems expert from the US. He moved to Finland around 7 years ago, and what brought him here to Finland, you might ask? Back in the day, already when he was 16, he changed his location in MySpace to Helsinki. So that set the tone for his future, and now here he is. Today we'll be discussing about design systems and what are the important aspects in designing such things. For example, why you need to be considering even before you start designing your tokens or design system components, and how interpersonal skills play a crucial role in designing these systems, and your communication skills matter. You need to be able to build trust across teams and be able to communicate clearly. And unfortunately today I had a new lens on the camera, and for some reason the autofocus didn't really work, so this episode's a bit blurry. I apologize that. I hope that I don't bother you too much. But please enjoy the episode.
Hey, I'm Daniel Yuschick. I work in design systems. I'm from the US, moved to Finland about 7 years ago, and doing this home, trying the podcast thing for the first time, just checking it out.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it's new. It's yes mode all year, trying everything new and just seeing how it all feels.
Oh, where from US are you?
I grew up in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And then lived in North Carolina for like 8 years before moving here.
Okay. What brought you to Finland?
I grew up playing in heavy metal bands my whole life. So we always listened to music from Finland, Sweden, just the whole area. And I was like 16, and I was like updating my MySpace location even back then to be Helsinki. Like I knew at that age, I was like, Helsinki's the place that like, that's it for me. So I love heavy metal. I love winter, darkness. I love just the culture and everything. So came here on a holiday one time and just like instantly fell in love with it. Okay. Like felt at home, felt comfortable walking through the city and stuff. So that convinced me. I was like, all right, got to make this happen.
Then you traveled back and made a plan and moved here.
I mean, plan. Applied to some jobs and got one. And then like came here for like the final interview. And then I had like a month, I just sold everything I owned and then just got my dog registered. And then that was about it. Flew over. So
you got a job first here and then you moved?
Yep. And they helped me with all the like legal paperwork and stuff like that. So it was quite easy from that standpoint at least.
What was the company?
Futurice.
Okay.
I'll always love Futurice. Only have good things to say about them because they helped me get over here. And then when I moved here, I moved into an Airbnb, and then the dude renting it didn't tell me that the building was having a pipe renovation. So I didn't have running water for my first like 3 weeks here.
Oh shit.
So I found another place, Futurice. They brought their whole like legal team in, covered like the legal expenses and stuff. And like, I didn't really have to pay rent for that 1 month at the Airbnb. And then they like signed my lease contract for the new apartment. They're like, hey, we'll just deduct the rent from his pay. Like we're the leasee. So like Futurice went to bat for me, like big. So like all love for Futurice for sure.
That's a great story.
Yeah, it was it was in Katianoka. So I was just going down to the sauna, the Alas pool to like shower, use the bathroom, everything like that because I had nothing in the apartment.
What was your first role there? It was like a front-end engineer or?
I think just general like software developer.
Okay.
But it was I was just working on the front end, just React, TypeScript, CSS stuff. I worked at OP for a year through Futurice.
What year was this when you moved?
2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been in Finland for 7 years now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Never going back?
No. Yeah, I mean, like the original plan was like stay for 1 year, see how it feels. But like 6 months in, got really lucky on Tinder, met my wife. So here we are, 6 years later. But I don't miss like anything in the US. Like Finland is like, when I say home, like I mean Finland. Like it's, I have no desire to leave at all. Like this is where I want to be.
Sounds good.
I love it, man. Yeah.
Have you traveled a lot in Finland itself?
Not a whole lot. I haven't really been past like Oulu and like Hailuoto, like in the north. So I haven't been up into like Lapland areas yet, but kind of been everywhere below that, or a lot of places below that.
Did you go to what's the festival in Hailuoto or?
I didn't go to that, no. But I'm aware of it. My partner's family has a cabin on the island, so like we'll go up there like in the summer and spend some time, and they have all the summer festivals there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go to the story how we actually met, because that's kind of funny story.
Good times, yes.
Yeah. So a couple of months ago, or maybe in June or July or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
My wife came home from Helsinki after being in a tattoo party.
Yep.
And you just met her there, and then she mentioned that there's this dude that is really interesting. Maybe you should meet him, like connect with him in LinkedIn, and then like see what happens. And now we are here in Helsinki, actually recording a podcast together.
Absolutely, yeah. Small world. She was there just I think doing like resident or like guest work, a guest spot. And just started talking, and then it came up that I speak at like the conferences and do tech work, and she's like, "Oh my God, you should meet my partner." And here we are.
Yeah, were you taking a tattoo, or were you just sitting there? Or
I don't remember specifically that day. I think it was just an event, so I think I was just there. But I've been getting my back done, so I can't remember if it was a back session day or if I was just there hanging out or whatever. But it was something like that. Yeah.
Cool. So from tattooing to, oh fuck, I lost my thought. Okay, this is one of those things that we need to edit out.
Yep. Cut.
Yeah, talk about life story, the US Finland meetups, conference, and teaching. Maybe we could talk about design systems, since that's your stuff, right?
Yeah.
I don't really even know where to start. Like, I know that design systems are like components. You have these. Let's say in React world, you have a UI library, for example, and you have a certain way you need to use components. And let's say that certain kind of spacing, fonts, colors, and all that kind of stuff. But where do you start when you start thinking about a new design system? Like, what's the first thing that you do?
First thing would be kind of, talk to the teams who will be using it, the products that you'll be serving and supporting. If there's already something in place, you can do like some type of audit. But I think like starting with design tokens or colors or components and stuff like that, I think that gets too into the weeds too quick. Like you're solving problems you don't know what they are yet.
What are design tokens?
Design tokens will be sort of you can think of them almost as like a variable. So like a design token could point to like a hex value, but it's kind of more like they're encapsulated design decisions. So it's not just a specific variable; it can change and be different, so it's kind of like a named design decision. Okay. Yeah.
So you first go to people, talk to them before even starting to think about the design.
Yeah, to know kind of what you're fixing, the direction you want to go, what is actually going to be used, what's the vision, all that stuff. Like you kind of need to know that foundation, that framework first before you even start putting like components and all that stuff into it, I think.
So first the users are actually using the system that will use those components. And I'd assume that after you talk to them, you need to talk to the people who are going to build them and are using the components to build the system in general before you start doing anything else.
Yeah, and just get a gauge for like where everything is at right now. What's the starting point? And then once you have a good familiarity with that, you have some idea about kind of where everything is starting. You have a better idea then of the needs, and from there you can kind of work from, okay, here's the needs, here are the pain points that are already here, and then you can kind of start moving it into that direction and working from there.
What if you are building something greenfield? You don't have any pain points because you don't know yet.
Yeah, in that case, it's a little bit of, like, I don't know if it's ever too early to start building a design system, because it's kind of, a design system is sort of the language that you use to build digital UIs. So it doesn't matter if it's, phone, TV, laptop, whatever. It's just like, this is the language of our digital products. And if you're kind of building a greenfield thing, you probably don't have like a very strong brand or a very strong like language to begin with to really even try to define or structure or componentize this stuff. Is maybe a little too loose still at that point. So like...
in that case, would you start with the company branding itself? If you already have something outside the digital realm, let's say that you have your logo, your colors, that would be kind of the base point that you're referring
that could be a starting point. I still don't know if I would like step into a design system right away. Maybe kind of get sort of like V1 out, kind of get a look and feel, because if you have a physical brand, trying to migrate that to a digital world isn't going to be a one-to-one translation. So like you still kind of have to trial and error user flows, or do we want to open a drawer to modify settings? Do we want to have that in a dialogue? Do we want to go to a separate page? I think you have to kind of learn some of these user flows, get some of this feedback, kind of find what works and what doesn't. And then once you kind of know that, you can kind of start like documenting that and putting that into like patterns and systems and stuff like that. But I think you sort of need to try first. I think it's hard to just start with like design system and then just go from there. I think that's tough.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Like, how can you even improve something or design something that don't exist yet from that perspective? Because the design is more about how it looks and feels. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have it yet,
that's how I see it. Like, I see the design system as like you start with something and now you want to take this something to be something, and then the design system comes in to take it from this and expand it. And especially if you're just dealing with like one product, if you're just building some type of like e-commerce website or something like that, and you just have this one product, like, yeah, design system is probably not going to be the first thing you start with.
Yeah. Grab something like Material UI and just do a first version with that. And
you could do something like that, yeah. Then once you start introducing, the mobile app companion to it, or you want to start theming, or you start having a secondary company or something like that, or a secondary product, then it's like, okay, you have multiple UIs now that you need to take into consideration. You need them consistent and uniform and stuff. Like, there's an actual problem to solve. I think if you're just starting from scratch, brand new, or if you just have one thing, like one product, maybe not the best thing to start with. At least that's how I see it.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. As you can probably tell that I've been pretty much all from the front-end development for a while. I used to do a lot of React, but lately I haven't really touched it like almost in 2 years or anything.
Oh, okay.
Almost like back-end and Confluence-driven development.
There you go. Yep. I would say it's changed a lot in 2 years. Yeah.
Yes. But so, from the point of view that design systems are to solve problems like the different applications, because you need to unify them instead of like trying to solve this one application in general. Mm-hmm. I like that idea. I will coin that and use that later.
There you go. Terrific. Yes. The previous company I worked for, we had like the main product out. We had 3 separate products. We had like an admin panel, the creator panel, and then like the player facing side. And we had been in like closed beta. We'd been open for 3 years, something like that, like in development. And at that point, we introduced like actual branding, because up until that point, it's just like, let's just make something happen. Let's just get stuff out there. And then when we introduced actual branding, at that point, we had now brand colors, we had brand guidelines from the agency, and we had enough like user data to sort of like determine what works, what doesn't work. And at that point, we started moving not into like a proper design system, but we started moving into a more system approach. We had defined components, we had defined guidelines and stuff like that. So we had like an existing thing. And then once we got the branding, that was kind of like the jumping off point. It's like, okay, time to like take this seriously. Let's kind of make things a bit more cohesive. And then we were able to roll that out through, the player side, the creator side, and the admin side, and make everything a bit more uniform. And, at that point, we had things to sort of consider and improve.
How do you make multiple teams kind of align on a design system and how to use that?
Yeah, I think it comes down to relationships.
People,
always people, man. It always comes down to just, being able to kind of earn respect and trust. I think one of the conference talks I do is about like building components, and I have an overarching theme that's just like, ultimately, yes, it's a button that we're building, but we're building trust. Like, we're trusting that we're trusting between design, development, we're trusting with QA, we're trusting at the product level that like, this button itself is insignificant, but the reliability that it has and it conveys, like, that is the trust that's built around teams. So I think getting other teams to consume, use, contribute to, advocate for the design system, like, it comes down to trust interpersonally. That like, if you like working with this team, or if this team likes working with you, it doesn't really matter what the design system itself is. Like, yeah, there might be pain points, but pain points are a lot easier to navigate and resolve when there's a good working relationship, when there's trust, when there's communication. And I think that's at the core of like every design system, is like the interpersonal, the trust, the communication, the transparency, the visibility of the system. And then if you have that stuff in place, everything else is easy to resolve. Everything else can be figured out together.
It sounds like you're describing the general idea of software development and teamwork in general.
Teamwork in general, yeah. It's amazing the amount of stuff I've learned from basketball that translate to just actual life. And just the team, the support, and all that stuff. And just like, the team is bigger than the one. And, Yeah, it translates everywhere, man. It's been helpful.
You still play basketball?
I do not, because I'm 38. Remember, I'm not LeBron James.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that you could still play like at that age, but
I mean, I can't by myself. So climbing, squash, proper 38-year-old sports. Yep, squash.
badminton.
Badminton. Yep.
I'm 35 and I started CrossFit a few years ago.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Nice.
You can still do things at this age.
We can still do things at this age. I mean, yeah, I do the gym, all that stuff, but I realized that like basketball, everyone I was competing against, they just stayed 25. Doesn't matter how, like, I just keep getting older and they just stay 25. I don't know what's going on. So eventually it was like I messed up my Achilles in like 2019, and then right after that COVID hit, so I went like 3 years without playing any basketball. I tried going back and I was like, yep, I don't have it anymore. Like, nope, don't have it. So that was 2019, 2020, that was the end of it. Yeah.
Basketball has always been my favorite ball sport as well. I used to play a little, but not even probably 20 years.
So you would feel the pain, I think. Yeah.
I would most likely feel the pain.
Yeah. I grew up near Pittsburgh, and being a kid, you just have like the Pittsburgh Steelers, American football just shoved down your throat, and I just like revolted against it.
Okay.
And there was no basketball team in Pittsburgh, so when I was a kid, I gravitated towards basketball because I was like, this is the only sport Pittsburgh fans can't ruin for me. So that sort of started it, and then I just kind of like fell in love with it and kept playing. But it.
Do you have like Futurice? I don't even know how to say the name. In Finland, people say it's Futurice, which is probably not the right way to say it, because it feels like it's in English.
Yeah.
Futurice. Did they have a team here, or did you find some other group to play with? Or
Futurice they rented like a basketball court like for an hour every week, something like that, and then anyone there could go up and play. When I first moved here, again, didn't really know anybody, so I just went to all the different basketball courts. I moved in like May, so like June, I was out playing basketball every single day, and met this group called Futurice.
Okay.
And they just have basketball events at all the different courts, and it's like a really, really good community, mostly of immigrants, mostly people who moved here just trying to find community, trying to find friends and people. And I just happened to show up at Meilahti one day to play ball. Met this awesome group, and the runs were really like, they were competitive, but like really, really friendly, really, really nice. And it was like a really good vibe, like what I was looking for. And yeah, met people there, and then that became my whole like social circle for the first quite a few years that I've been here. Like just met them all playing basketball, met that whole group, and that became like my whole friend circle. Like they were people I met there were at our wedding. A person I met there, he just got married this summer. I was at his wedding. So like the people I met that first summer here through Futurice, like people I still connect with now 7 years later.
Was it Futurice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Night basketball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you play basketball. What else did you do when you came to Finland? Oh, shit. What else did you do? Like you started playing basketball, and how's your life now in Finland? You do, or you would just work and do conference talks and.
Yeah, I'm very much a homebody. But yeah, I mostly work remote, so I'll do that. But yeah, not so much basketball anymore, but I've been getting a whole lot more back into climbing. I climbed a lot in the US, getting back into that again. Like I said, I'll play some squash. Yeah, writing, stuff like that. So nothing too crazy. I go to a bunch of concerts. That's like my favorite. Like that was such a big thing I wanted in Finland when I moved here. It's just like there's just gonna be shows every weekend, and there kind of is. Like I was at a show last night. The band they were playing in Turku last night, so they're playing in Helsinki tonight. I'll be there again tonight. I love going to concerts, live music, and being around that, because it's the big reason that I even knew what Finland was when I was a kid. And yeah, I grew up around music. My dad played, my sister played. And when I was 5, I got a cassette player for my birthday. And my dad said you can pick out any one cassette from his collection to listen to. And I grabbed Alice Cooper's Hey Stupid. Because apparently at 5, the cover of that cassette was like him as like half him, half skeleton. There's like a dagger going through his head. And like at 5, I'm like, that's it. That's the one. So like Alice Cooper was like my first concept of music at 5. My first concert was to see him at 7. and just always loved music, been around it, played it, all that stuff. So like, it was a huge draw of why I came to Finland. And yeah, there's just concerts all the time. I always have a bunch of tickets on my phone ready to go. And yeah, Tuska, the main, like one of the big like metal festivals in summer, is always on my birthday weekend. So like, it's just every year celebrating my birthday at Tuska. It's just, it could not be better. It's everything I wanted Finland to be.
What's your main instrument?
Drums.
Drums.
Yep.
Do you play anything else?
No, just that. No, if I understood actual music, I would play something other than drums, but that's the only thing. I don't need to worry about, like harmonies and keys and stuff. It's just like tuning, yep, that sounds good, and I'll just hit shit.
You have a band here?
No. Okay. Nah. Not anymore. I played a lot in Pennsylvania and then some in North Carolina, but living in apartments is kind of tough. We have a kit out at the cabin, so like over the summer, whatever songs I'm listening to at the time, I'll jam along with. So I've been playing a lot of like Blind Channel, Mr. Misery, Enemy Inside kind of stuff. And yeah, I'll play that at the cabin over the summer. But other than that, like, don't have anything at home. Don't have like an electronic kit or anything. But like, I still miss it. I love it. But the passion and the creativity and that stuff isn't there for it anymore. So when I play, I just play along to the songs I know. And I really can't like think of riffs or songs now to write on my own. It's like that part of me is just sort of like, yeah, I haven't trained it enough. So it's just kind of gone.
For me, it's kind of like the same. I played a lot the past, like maybe 15 years. That was kind of like obsessive, like playing 8 hours a day and stuff like that.
What did you play?
My main instrument is guitar.
Guitar, okay, yep.
Then I studied also music technology, so we needed to learn like the basic band instruments like bass, drums, keys, and I took some sax lessons as well.
Oh, nice.
But lately, as of like 2017, I barely played at all. And it's just like, it's not there anymore. Like, I cannot just go at 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
I don't feel that anymore.
Yep. It was the same thing for me. I would come home from school and I would just drum for like 3 hours. I would come home and just like, and it would be like, I'd be training, like I'd be practicing. I'd be like, okay, this is the riff I want to work on. Like, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to like get better. I'm going to work. And now like, yeah, that passion, that drive isn't there.
I kind of miss it every now and then, but still like, that was already like years and years of my life that maybe it's time to do something else.
Yeah, I had a chance to maybe get back into it here. Friend of a friend kind of thing. They were looking for a drummer, and it was like it was still metal, but it was like an approachable thing. They're like, okay, I haven't drummed in a while. I could probably still play that. And I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Maybe it's just better to just like leave it as it was. Like I was far from famous. We were far from like a big band. Like we weren't signed or anything like that. But like, every band I listened to back in the day, like we've opened for them. Like I had my own signature drumsticks. I had the cymbal sponsorships and all that stuff. So like, that's enough. Like that's good. Like to try and start over, like it's a lot of work. The drive isn't there. And it's like, I'm content with what I've done already. And I'm happy with that. And like, I can just leave it as is.
I also assume that it's more like underground genre that you were playing, right?
It was mellow death, so lots of like Soilwork and Flames kind of stuff.
Okay, so
like
it could be big as well.
Yeah, like we played with Soilwork, played with like Exodus, Symphony X. Like we played with a ton of these bands because we just kind of fell into that niche, and that's at that time that was like 2005, 2006 ish. Like In Flames, Soilwork coming out of Sweden, like that was the thing. Like in metal was that new mellow death wave of like Dark Tranquillity and Bodom, Children of Bodom was around that time as well. They were huge. So like all those bands came out, and that's sort of like the niche that we were in as well. So anytime that they came to like Pittsburgh or Cleveland, we were like one of the de facto openers for them.
Oh, that's cool.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Can we still find your music from Spotify or something?
Not really. It's again 38. We had to record videos on like high eight video cameras. Like we didn't even have like, I think the iPhone 1 was out. Yeah. But yeah, no real recording and stuff like that. Like you can find maybe a couple things on YouTube buried somewhere, but nothing really. No, it's all deep cuts. Okay. Yeah. But like through that, like I've got to do so much. And yeah, it's, for me, it felt like a lot. To me, it feels like I've done so much, and it's it's easy to be content with that. Like I've been on the Soilwork tour bus after a show in Cleveland, and like their bassist was playing Resident Evil 4 at the time, which I could have played, but at that point, like I could have played it blindfolded, like played it nonstop. he was having trouble with the bus. So like I'm just sitting there like helping him with Resident Evil 4 on the Soilwork tour bus, and it's like, yeah, I'm good. Like this is
life goals.
Yeah, So I think it's easy to be content with where I've been.
What are your next goals? Like music stuff, that's checked.
That's checked.
Is the books and writing something that you're looking into?
The second book is a big one. I would say honestly, probably a goal I have now is like, I'm kind of like, there's different conferences that I want to be a part of. And I kind of want to be like, okay. So I work in design systems. That's very much like where my passion is now. So single track mind, focused on that. There is in Finland one design system of particular note for Nordhealth.
Okay.
And their design system is beautiful, and it's architected by a person named Ariel Salminen. And where she is, who she is, like the work that she does, what she knows, that's the goal. That's the goal. Like if I could just sit next to her and just sponge everything that she knows, her experience and all that stuff, like that's the goal. Like I would like to, whatever design system I end up working on or being a part of, like the goal, that's the goal.
Was it Ariel Nieminen? Did I get that correct?
Ariel. Okay. Ariel Salminen.
Salminen.
Yep. Just incredible work. And I'm lucky that like she's in my network, so I can reach out, ask questions, pick her brain and stuff like that. But like, that's the goal.
Oh, I
it's all blurry.
I don't know if it's been blurry the whole time.
I don't think it was. Like when I looked over there at the very beginning, it seemed. Yeah. Oh, I wonder if it's focusing on the cable. No, not the cable.
Oh. Technical difficulties. What is happening here?
It looks better.
I think Fuji has some problems with autofocus. It's okay. We'll continue from there.
Yeah, I wonder when that began.
Yeah.
Might just be an audio version.
Yeah.
Yep.
The audio is good enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you said that you kind of you want to be you want to be somewhere where somebody else is already. So I kind of sense that you look life through role models and kind of imitate yourself, like the behavior based on what you see. Like if let me try to rephrase that. So like how I look at the future is more like, okay, who are the people that I admire? Like whose qualities would I like to like absorb in somehow? And based on what you just said about Ariel, that you feel like that's something that you would like to have and you like to sponge off.
Yeah.
And try to learn that kind of stuff. Like I resonate with that.
Yeah, for sure. I think the same thing could be said for like the band days as well, where we saw all the bands that we listened to and where they were at, and like those were goals back then as well. I think it's also partly just like doing sort of not so much what I see others doing, but what I see myself doing. Like who do I want to be? What do I want to achieve and stuff like that? And so a lot of it is like self-driven, but yeah, in this particular instance, like I see her work and it's like yeah, I want to know all the things that she knows and do that. So like that's a very good like driving force. That's a good motivator. Yeah, so I'd say in this case, like yeah, role model, like something like to aspire towards. Yeah. I work better when there's a goal. I work better when there's a target. If it's just kind of like listless, it can kind of be a little flat. You
can basically do whatever if you don't have a goal, like
yeah,
rather than going at that point.
And like it's so much easier to wake up and be motivated and driven if it's like even if it's like I'll go to the gym and I'll be doing shit that I don't want to do. But I have in the back of my mind, like, what if someone kidnaps our child and I need to chase after them? And like, I'm like, oh, I'm good. Back on the treadmill going. Like, I'll think of stuff like this. I'll think about like doing these like big caving expeditions, things that will never happen. But like, I just have this little thing in the back of my mind. And it's like, okay, that's the goal. That's the target. That's what I'm training for. That's what I'm doing. And that just makes everything easier. Like it's a target, it's a goal, it's something to work towards. And yeah, as preposterous as they may be, like it gets me running, man.
That's funny as hell. So where do you see yourself in a few years? Like if you see the qualities of some people that you might want to acquire, like in this case the Ariel, but if you are more towards your own vision of the future? Like, what is your future?
Hard to say. I think like between like writing and work and stuff like that, I think a lot of it's kind of not superficial, but like kind of interchangeable. What I'm interested in, what my hobby is in 5 years, I think is irrelevant. I think where I see myself in 5 years is someone who's just like, I just want to be like content. I want to be someone who's happy. And if I have a goal to work towards and aspire towards, like I'm going to be good. I think whatever that goal is, whatever I'm doing at the time, that's plug and play. But I think at the core of it, it's like, okay, I want to be content. I want to be motivated. I want to be happy. Like that's, if those things are in place, everything else can take care of itself.
You know, there's not really anything that you need to do if you're happy, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's always the goal.
Yeah, I'm kind of just curious, like seeing like you've done already so much, and I'm expecting that you're going to do a lot in the future. Like, just kind of trying to pick your brain on that.
Yeah, if I have to pick something, like I started outlining a third book because my favorite movies of all time are like the 80s slashers. So I want to write a nice homage to slashers. Yeah, and so I want to do that. Yeah, there's a handful of conferences I'd love, love to speak at. Zero Heights Converge would be amazing. Any of the Smashing events would be incredible. Yeah, a few things like that would be absolute goals for me. Being part of like a design system that's quite high level, quite big, branded, kind of known, like that'd be aspirational. And yeah, it's hard to say. Like I'm into climbing right now. I might not be into climbing a few years from now. So it'd be cool to climb a 7A maybe. I don't know. But like, I would say those are the things that come to mind is like finish the second book, do the third, and then different conferences. Cause that's those are sort of the places where my mind is at now.
Yeah. Sounds really good.
Yeah.
Do you have any shameless self plug here that you would like to put out?
Man, if I have to say something, I would say you can find my books on Amazon. The first one's called The Mines. And yeah, the second one's going to be called With the Devil I Rest. That'll be released probably summer 2026. Well, no, sorry. I forgot what year it was. 2025. It'll be released next summer. Well, I shouldn't say next summer. 2025. Yeah. 2020 it'll be released. That would be the plug. I don't really do anything else online. I did sign up for Blue Sky. I
saw that. I did not follow you.
Are we done here? Can we wrap?
Yeah, I think we're done here.
I signed up on Blue Sky. That's about it. But yeah, I don't really do anything online. To promote, really. I would just shout out Hive Helsinki and Code Bar Helsinki.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel.
Absolutely, man. My pleasure. This was cool.
If you found your way all the way here until the end, thank you. And if you found this insightful or useful or anything entertaining maybe, please consider subscribing. Thank you and see you next time. Ciao.